Hello and welcome to the Burt Locker. I am Burt Green. This is just a sports comedy random musings show, really. This week, focusing mostly on the results of the UFC Vegas 86, because I'm just a massive MMA fan, so I do talk about mixed martial arts a lot. If you want just a fun, straight talking mixed martial arts show, just giving opinions, breaking down fights, looking at future matchups, then this is the one for you. Try not to take it too seriously. And I also like to put down terrible bets and stuff as well, which is always fun. Just a nice betting forecast. We all like those. So like and subscribe and all that good stuff. So this week, UFC Vegas 86 results and what's next for the winners and losers. Looking at the encounter between Tom Aspinall and John Jones, whether Conor McGregor will come back at all, and if he'll fight Michael Chandler, and Anthony Smith's latest opponent for UFC 301. All that to come on this week's Burt Locker. Right, let's start off by looking at the fight night UFC Vegas 86. I want to say Tai Tuivasa versus Marcin Tybura. Look, was it the greatest card in the world? No, but compared to the next two fight nights, it was astoundingly good. The next two fight nights, I've got to be totally honest, I have taken a look at the cards. They're struggling. They're struggling a little bit. It's the run up to UFC 300. It's going to make UFC 300 look great by comparison. I understand and appreciate the strategy there, but when you've got headline in the event, Namajunas versus Ribas, it's like I don't know. Either way, look, they all have potential to be good fights. I'm not saying that the fights won't be good in and of themselves. I'm just saying that there isn't a lot of star power. You have to do a lot of research on some of these people that don't even have pictures on the UFC website. If you've got a fight card where more than two of the fights, where neither fighters have a picture, they're reaching. They're scraping the proverbial barrel that is the UFC roster. That wasn't this. You had some really interesting fights on this card, to be fair. And there were a couple of surprises. A couple of things didn't surprise me. Jafal Filo got the submission over Ode Osborne. That was happening all day long. I was obviously my rolling the dice on Natan Levy looked very silly because Mike Davis, there was a reason he was a massive favourite. He just looked absolutely class. Fair play to him. Gerald Meerschaert, the third, GM3, looked absolutely outstanding, securing what I believe is his 28th career submission. 28th career submission. That's unbelievable. Right, but Gerald Meerschaert does not get the respect that he deserves. Like, is he beating the champions? Maybe not. But at middleweight, he's a really good fighter. Good fighter, great moustache, and just the squeeze that he had to put Barberena out, because it was kind of under the choke was kind of under the chin as well. But he just squeezed so hard that he put him out. And also, class act, he immediately tried to help revive Barberena as well. You know what? Gerald Meerschaert, class act, 28 career submissions. His career is as long as something that's really long. He's just absolutely brilliant. I don't think that GM3 gets the love that he deserves, but big up GM3. Also, Rodriguez versus Bulgarian. I don't know. Obviously, the judges render their decision, and that is final. I don't usually get involved in kind of questioning the judges' decisions. I just think the judge's decision is the judge's decision. Bulgarian should have maybe gotten Rodriguez out of there, vice versa. Like, just don't leave it to the judges. And I don't like saying things are a robbery because it's a close fight. This fight, I didn't think it was even that close. Rounds 1 and 2. Rounds 1 and 2, Isaac Bulgarian clearly won. Like, very, very clearly. I don't understand how they then give it a split decision to Christian Rodriguez. Because, look, fair enough, Bulgarian did gas out, and he looked awful in round 3. And there are a couple of the commentators saying, well, this could be a draw because if you give Rodriguez a 10-8 in round 3, it wasn't a 10-8. All I would say, look, whether or not you score what Rodriguez did to Bulgarian in round 3 as a 10-8 is neither here nor there, because if you score that third round a 10-8 to Christian Rodriguez, then the first round has to be a 10-8 to Bulgarian because he absolutely dominated and Christian Rodriguez did 0 in the first round. So it wouldn't make a difference to the scorecards anyway. Bulgarian won round 2. He's managed to just do enough to win round 2. Like, I don't mean just do enough. I mean, he quite clearly did enough. And Rodriguez, yeah, he won round 3, but I understand how the judges then give him the decision based off that. That was an odd one. But, you know, at the end of the day, the judge's decision is the judge's decision. Bulgarian should have managed his gas tank better, and he should have either gotten Rodriguez out of there or managed his gas tank better. Because I will say Bulgarian looked phenomenal in rounds 1 and 2, especially round 1. He just didn't manage his gas tank, and that is going to be a learning lesson for him. We're going to see him come back in a big way because he was 6-0 going in, so he's now 6-1, I believe. But yeah, you know what? Good for Christian Rodriguez. I'm pleased for him because he managed to weather the storm, but I feel like he came back too late. But not for the judges, obviously. Anyway, let's move on to another big shocker of the night. Ovince St. Preux has still got it, man. It just depends which Ovince St. Preux turns up. Because look, let's not forget, Kennedy Nzechukwu is an absolute killer. Like he's one of the dangerous guys coming up through that division. 6'5", knees and elbows for days, great striking, just really, really dangerous. Ovince St. Preux was a huge underdog for good reason, because Ovince St. Preux he either looks good or terrible, and it's so hard to predict. And I would have given St. Preux an advantage in the grappling, but that's not even where he took his advantage. He took his advantage on the feet against a very well-renowned up-and-coming kickboxer who had a massive reach advantage, and St. Preux was just matching him shot for shot, and St. Preux just seemed to have more power. Look, over St. Preux, he's now got, I think he's got the most fights in light heavyweight history. You know, just an unbelievable. He's been around for so long. He's now 40. Could he make a run for the title at 40? Look, in the light heavyweight division that is now, let's be fair, not dominated by John Jones, could you see Ovince St. Preux maybe making a run for the title? That's a good question. Because the light heavyweight, right, hang on. Is he even ranked at light heavyweight? He's not. Okay. Right, let's have a look at the top 15 in light heavyweight. Who does Ovince St. Preux beat? Petrino? Don't know. Petrino's a bit of a beast. I think Anthony Smith is going to find that out, honestly. Dominic Reyes? Yes. Mirzakhanov? Maybe. Alonzo Menafield? Obviously, he already lost to Alonzo Menafield. But again, that was like the slit. I'm talking about an awake Ovince St. Preux here, just to clarify. I'm talking about Ovince St. Preux as he performed against Nzechukwu. Like, who does he beat in the top 10? In the top 15, rather. Khalil Roundtree Jr., maybe. I don't know. Khalil Roundtree's a bit of a beast. Volkan Ozdemir, he probably does. He probably beats Anthony Smith. I'm a huge fan of Anthony Smith. I'm going to go on to this in a minute because there is a fight announcement. Jan Blachowicz, probably. Rakic, he stands a chance. Krylov, yes. Look, I think that Ovince St. Preux has a competitive fight with most of the top 5. Jamal Hill might struggle. He might struggle with Pereira. But although we've not seen Pereira deal with real grappling yet, if Ovince St. Preux's got great grappling. Look, I'm just saying, maybe there's life in the old dog yet. There could be. The co-main event ended in a no contest. Brian Battle against Angie Lusa. Losa, they call it, but it's spelled Lusa. And yeah, so what happened was Brian Battle looked phenomenal. He was piecing him up, just using his length, just absolutely. He was battering him. He really was. As I thought he probably would. Brian Battle is a real problem in that welterweight division. I am telling you. Like, the second he gets a number next to his name, he's going to be a problem for anybody. I think you stick him in against Stephen Thompson. He has a good fight. Neil Magny. I wouldn't mind seeing him against Michael Venom Page, Kevin Holland, Michael Chiesa. Like, you know, even put him up against like Colby Covington, it would be interesting. I do believe. Shavkat might be a reach. Bilal Muhammad, maybe. Kamaru Usman's still ranked number 1. I don't know why. Either way, he looked phenomenal and he was piecing Lusa up. And then he goes to get a tie clinch and his thumb goes. It wasn't the worst eye poke I've ever seen, but no eye poke is a good eye poke. And I still maintain that it's difficult for fighters to continue, because when you've been poked in the eye, your eye's not okay half an hour later, let alone 5 minutes later. So I do sympathise with Angel Lusa's position rather. And look, but did it look like aesthetically he was looking for a way out? Yes. Yeah, it did seem that way, because he said to the referee, he said to the doctor that he couldn't see. The second you say that, the doctor is going to call it. That's going to happen. So yeah, he was probably looking for a way out. Then Brian Battle, after they make the announcement, Brian Battle's very frustrated and he stands there and calls him a pussy. At which point, Losa then reacts by shouting, "I'll kill you, I'll kill you, I'll kill you." It's like, oh, hang on a second, dude. You're ready to fight now, but you just said you couldn't fight a second ago. So which is it? I kind of agree with everything that Brian Battle said after the fact as well. Like, that they interviewed him and he just simply said, look, end of the day, he was looking for a way out. There's no point in running this back because I was piecing him up. And he was looking for a way out. I feel a similar way about the Leon Edwards-Bilal Muhammad one, although that was a much worse eye poke on the face of it. I don't think it changes the result of the fight, is what I'm saying. I don't know if there's any need to see that again, because we've seen what Brian Battle was doing to Losa, and there would be no change in a rematch. Just like I don't think there would be any change if Leon Edwards was to rematch Bilal Muhammad. I feel like we'll just see Leon Edwards just piecing him up. So I do agree with everything Brian Battle was saying. Do I sympathise a little bit with the eye pokes? Eye pokes happen, right? But don't say you can't continue and that you can't fight and then react. I mean, it's hard when you're being called a pussy. I get that. Maybe Brian Battle could have been a little bit more tactful, a little bit more gracious, you know, and not said you're a fucking pussy, you know, because that was what caused it. Because it's difficult to then not get your back up and try and save face a little bit when this guy is calling you a pussy on camera in front of everybody, and you're supposed to be a fighter, and you know, it's difficult to not react like that and say, yeah, I'm going to kill you. But it's not great when you've just told the doctor that you're not able to continue. So I agree with everything that Brian Battle said. I don't necessarily agree that after a fight has been called, you should be turning around and calling your opponent a pussy because you poked them in the eye and they couldn't continue. I think that was bad form, a little bit. But you want a little bit of that in your fighters. You want a little bit of an edge. You want a little bit of an attitude. I'm being a devil's avocado here. I can see it from both sides. Either way, no point in running that back. I would like to see Brian Battle fight Kevin Holland. That's what I want to see. Brian Battle, Kevin Holland. I want to see a number next to Brian Battle's name. I think he's very, very talented. I look forward to seeing him again. Then you've got, you know, Martian Tybura against Tai Tuivasa. I did think that that could have been the way that it went. Tybura is just so very well rounded, and look, on the feet, Tuivasa was. Let's not pretend that Tybura got out there unscathed. He didn't. Right, he got horrible cut on his head. Tuivasa looked brilliant in the stand up, but he just ends up, if he gets taken down, especially against a grappler as accomplished as Martian Tybura, it's going to go badly. It was really just a matter of time once they got him down to the ground. I mean, what's next for Tai Tuivasa at this point? Look, I still think you've got to keep Tai Tuivasa in there because he's just a fun fighter. Look, Tai Tuivasa against Jairzinho Rozenstruik makes all the sense in the world. I don't know if they fought before. I don't remember it if they have. But that would be a really fun fight because they're both stand-up fighters. Derek Lewis probably wants a rematch with Tai Tuivasa as well to try and get that one back because they fought before and Tuivasa knocked him out. In terms of what's next for Martian Tybura, I'm not sure if they've been matched up previously, but Jailton Almeida might not be a bad matchup just to see how Gelton, is going to fare after taking that loss to Curtis Blades. So, yeah, there's a lot to be happy about in the heavyweight division, which brings me to the news. Don't forget to like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Anyway, the only thing I've been seeing in the news really is Tom Aspinall and John Jones had this face-off. They had this face-off kind of thing. And it was a bit of a weird moment. Tom Aspinall has it because what people are making a big deal of is Tom Aspinall put his hand on John Jones' shoulder and John Jones quickly removed it, and Aspinall was like, hey, I'm not here to start anything. Tom Aspinall's a big lad, isn't he? Because he's quite a lot bigger than John Jones. I don't think that fight ever happens. Obviously, look, Tom Aspinall's doing the right thing and asking for that fight. John Jones is doing the wrong thing and holding up that division. I don't think I'm out of my mind in saying that. The fight with Stipe doesn't have to be for the belt. It's a legacy fight. As John Jones keeps on saying, that's a legacy fight, so you don't need to do it for the title. I don't know why they're keeping the belt on somebody who's refusing to defend it. I know he's injured, but if you've had the belt, like everyone else these days is vacating the belt, because if you can't compete for over a year, then you need to vacate and let the champion, let the division move on. Because John Jones talks about, oh, well, Tom, you've got to carve your own legacy. It's like, how is he supposed to do that, John, when you're hogging the belt and just not fighting? He is the interim champion. That makes him the #1 contender, not Stipe Miocic. Tom Aspinall has put in the work, do you know what I mean? Like, more recently. So the next contender should be Tom Aspinall if we're going by the numbers, which I know they're not. But really, the right thing to do is to strip John Jones of the belt, who doesn't need the belt for his legacy. It doesn't do anything for it at all. And then if he wants to fight Stipe and then ride off into the sunset, that's fine. That's a legacy fight. Does not need the title attached. The title adds nothing to that fight. It adds zero value, because we all know neither one of those guys, not Stipe, not Jones, neither of them are going to continue fighting after that fight. Not happening. So what's the point in attaching a title to it? There isn't any. Just strip John Jones of the belt, put it on Tom Aspinall, let Tom Aspinall start carving out his legacy. Because he can't carve out his legacy if John Jones is holding up the division. It's calling it like I see it. So, yeah. And people are saying Aspinall was doing it in a friendly way. He wasn't. He was doing it in a mad autism way. He does this thing where he does like to put his hands on people, because it's a domination thing, right? He's a big guy. He likes people to know he's a big guy, which is fair enough. How do I think that fight goes? I do think that Tom Aspinall probably sleeps John Jones. I think he's too big, too quick, too powerful. His grappling is too good. People keep on saying, well, Jones just went through Cyril Gane. Let's not pretend that Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gane are the same fighter. And also, let's not pretend that Tom Aspinall probably, in all likelihood, that anything can happen in the heavyweight division, but Tom Aspinall likely beats Cyril Gane. His grappling is on another level, and if he's just going to take Cyril Gane down, he's just going to submit it. And what else have we been seeing? Conor. Look, let's address this whole Conor McGregor issue that we've been seeing. I feel bad for Michael Chandler, but it's also very funny, because Conor McGregor has done something genius here. He's basically retired Michael Chandler without even fighting him. He's managed to get Michael Chandler hanging on for this fight for so long that Michael Chandler's best years have already kind of whittled away whilst he's waiting for Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor's not coming back. He ain't. He might come back for a fight with Nate Diaz if they do that at the Sphere for UFC 306, but he's not coming back to fight Michael Chandler. It's probably not going to happen. He's already said that he finds it hard to get motivated, to get back into training. It's not happening, is it? It just isn't. But yeah, and the other thing is we've got a new fight added to UFC 301. I think it is. It's the one after 300. Yeah, of course it's the one after 300. What am I saying? Anyway, 301. Anthony Smith against Vitor Petrino. Now that is a horrible fight for Smith, because Vitor Petrino is an absolute savage. And Anthony Smith has come out and said that he refuses to be the new Neil Magny. And I'm just like, number one, I don't know if you're trying to be disrespectful to Neil Magny there, but like, Neil Magny is a very, very talented fighter. I don't think he's ever fought for the title. Anthony Smith, I'm a huge fan of. I'm a massive fan of. I don't know if he beats Vitor Petrino, and then he's on like I don't know. It's looking less and less likely that he's going to beat these kind of new style fighters that are coming up that are absolute savages. I don't. Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough spot to be in, but because obviously he's saying that a win over Vitor Petrino doesn't do anything for him. It's like, yeah, but I mean, if can't put you up the rankings at this point because you need to get some high level wins, which you haven't had in a little bit. I don't know. I don't know. Let's see how he does against Petrino. If he blasts Petrino out of the water, then yeah, game on. Get him up the rankings. But yeah, that's all I've got time for this week. Obviously, like I said, the fight cards coming up aren't the best, if I'm totally honest. I will put some money on, but you've got Hebas versus Rose Namajunas coming up this week. Blanchfield versus Fiorot the week after. The only other fights that I'm interested in on those cards outside of the main event, you've got Justin Taff against Carl Williams. That's a pretty fun fight. And then you've got the prelim opener, actually, is Mohammed Usman and against Nick Parkin at heavyweight. That's quite a fun one. I like Nick Parkin. He fights out of England. He's another heavyweight that's come up. And Mohammed Usman is obviously Kamaru Usman's brother. That should be a fun one. But there's an awful lot of people without pictures. I'm going to have to do a fair... Oh, Cody Gibson's pretty good. I quite like Cody Gibson. Either way, I'll do a casuals guide, put some bets down, like, subscribe, and as always, keep those odds long and those bets terrible.